The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records, a proud sponsor of The Unfiltered by Jade.
Shopping Assistance Jamaica takes the stress away. Our services include online and local shopping in Jamaica for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, helping you to find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195. Shopping Assistance 2015 at gmail.com. Follow Shopping Assistance on Instagram at Shopping Assist JA, at Twitter at Shopping Assist 5, and Facebook at The Shopping Assistance. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget. Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us Shellé Hendrickson, and she's here to talk with us about handling difficult work relationships as a leader. And she is a speaker. She is an Your Influence AccelerateHER. She speaks really on building successful professional relationships for women to increase their influence and visibility. So, hi Shellé.
Hello.
And how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And hello to our audience, the Unfiltered by Jade listeners. I'm excited to be here with you all today.
Most definitely, and we're excited to have you. So, I want to know what qualifies as a difficult work relationship.
Okay, you just went right in. I would say at the core of many difficult relationships is just unresolved conflict and communication.
Okay.
And that could come from various things, such as people are just have different communication styles.
Right.
Some people are just misunderstood or misinterpreted.
Right.
And then others may just feel unheard or unappreciated.
Okay. And because of that, there is barriers where communication is.
Correct.
Okay.
I definitely think there's communication barriers. And I think at the root of conflict is just how people communicate and I think people looked at conflict as a negative thing. Like
Yes.
conflict could actually be good.
Yes.
It can show different people's perspective. It can drive innovation. Like we all don't want to think alike.
Right.
So I think it has a negative connotation, but there is some serious conflicts in the work environment. And
Yes.
when you're with our coworkers for most of the hours we are awake, so I think it's important that we are able to resolve conflicts as they arise.
Awesome. From a leadership perspective, is there a difference between how the sexes handle difficult work relationships?
I would say most definitely. I think men and women naturally process information and situations differently.
Right.
So it's natural that we will approach a difficult relationship differently as well. But not all men are the same and not all women are the
Women are
same.
the same,
So
right.
you can have female leaders that are very empathetic and warm and fuzzy, and then you can have some that are stern cold. So I think it's a matter of who your leader is. I don't think male or female matters.
Okay.
It's just the leadership style of whatever leader you're working with.
Okay. Should conflict resolution training courses be mandated for leaders, and why?
I believe there's always room for leaders to improve their skill set. So whether it be conflict resolution or any other topic, me personally as a leader, I always welcome the opportunity to sit in on those sessions or courses. But I also believe that we are all adults. So in the workplace, I think it's always important to be respectful and
Yes.
to always be professional, whether the relationship is difficult or not. And I think leaders at the core of their role is to provide a fair work environment and to provide your team with the tools to succeed. So I don't think leaders need to be in every aspect of the team or the
Okay.
employees on their team, because we're all adults. They can, I think they have to learn to deal with some of their issues alone.
Okay.
Happy if they loop me into, but I think it's important to empower people to handle their perceived conflicts on their own.
Okay. I'm just thinking, even as workplace, as far as it goes to workplace, do you also believe that leaders should encourage their team, persons who are working with them, to also attend training for dealing with conflict in the workplace? Because it doesn't just resonate with just the leader and the team, but how it is that the team deals with it. Because as I said, we're all adults, but not all adults can deal with conflict in a good way or respectful way.
That's very true. Whether you're dealing with personal relationships or professional relationships, communication can be very complex. I think it would definitely be beneficial as well for leaders and rest of the colleagues to have some sort of training in terms of conflict resolution, definitely. Yes, professional relationships, like personal relationships, can be very complex.
Right.
So I think I will deviate slightly away from conflict resolution and focus more on communication,
Okay.
because I think communication at the heart causes conflict,
Oh,
or the
yes.
lack of communication. So I think the emphasis should be more on communication. I think naturally people, especially now in social media, focus on the negative. So when you think of conflict resolution, you think, oh, there's a problem, and you're making me attend this seminar or this session because there's a problem. But it may
Right.
not be a problem. Like, we can all grow in different areas. My
Yes.
strengths may be different from another leader's strengths, and other colleagues may have different varying strengths as well. So I
Yes.
think it's important just to maybe flip. I think we always need to promote it on the side of positivity. So what communication skill can the team or the department benefit from as a whole? And hopefully those sessions and the skill set will help reduce some of the conflict or other issues that may be occurring within the team.
Okay. Should a leader be involved in all conflicts, or should they even be involved even as a mediator in all conflicts?
There's no blanket approach to
Okay.
conflict.
Hmm.
Some conflict is very deep and complex. Other
Okay.
conflict may be minor and emotionally driven. So I think it depends on the issue, because some issues at work, you may be required by law to have a party with an employee at a certain meeting. Other meetings, it may not be, I don't want to say that deep, but it may not be as crucial. So I
Right.
think it depends on what the issue at hand is. But I don't believe in the leader doing everything for employees. A leader at heart is to provide a fair work environment and to give you the tools for your team to do their job. But when you become a leader, you all of a sudden become a financial advisor and a daycare
Everything.
advisor and a marriage advisor in one. So it's like, I cannot do everything for everyone on the team, but I want to be here to show support. So in those moments, I'm like, what do you need from me, or how can I help you right now given what's going on? So I think it's important to understand, like, what is the role of a leader right now, because they're not here to help you in every way.
True.
I can't motivate my team. I want them to be motivated by me, but they need to show their own ambition and have their own goals. So I think sometimes people require too much of the leader that may be outside of what a true leader is there for.
My goodness,
And
that
I
is.
remember early in my career, it was a coworker that I was like, this lady does not like me. And I was like, so it was a few months. It was very tense whenever we had to do something together. So I remember my boss at the time pulled both of us in her office. And she said, I don't know what's going on here, but it needs to stop. And she
Right.
walked out. That's all she did.
Hmm.
And then so that gave us an opportunity to speak to each other. And you know what? You know why she was treating me badly? Because she said,
Why?
when I brought my newborn baby to the office, you didn't even get out of your seat. So I'm like,
What?
all these months, I was like, I didn't think, because her baby was premature. I didn't even think she would want anybody like hover. I know when I had a baby, I didn't want
What?
people hovering. Like, I want you to see them, but don't kiss them. So I thought I
What?
was respecting her space. She interpreted that I didn't care that her baby was now in the office. And so, so all the treatment that I received from her in the months following was actually not because I did anything in particular. It's how she perceived that I thought I didn't care about her
Oh,
baby that
wow.
she brought to the office. So it all goes back to dealing with the issue in hand, because sometimes the issue that may be irritating you may not be the issue that caused the irritation.
Mercy. But hold on. Let's even go back to that. But isn't that something now? Isn't that bringing something personal into an office space? Because I mean, yes, it was her child that she brought into the office space, but having that feeling of you not wanting to come over to see her child or to be around her child, isn't that something more personal? So do you actually think people should bring personal problems? Because I mean, I'm trying to understand why that would be a problem. Because, as you said, for yourself, you're saying, she just had a baby, and you're being respectful of her in the office. I mean, and I'm saying to myself, how about a simple conversation? As you said before, having conversations. So if it is that she felt a particular way before, how about having that conversation with you? Because what that does now is to make the work environment a bit hard to deal with.
Well, I think because we spend so much time with our colleagues, maybe less so now in a virtual environment, but we spend so much time with our colleagues. So little things that may be more personal and less professional can creep in and actually cause conflict. So I do think personal issues can cause conflict. It's not all about the business and the business needs, or conflict may not even come from working on a project to that. A conflict may come from, I don't think she speaks to me. And in Bermuda, so I am based in Bermuda. You cannot speak to anyone without saying good morning. So when new people come to the island, we're like, make sure you say good morning and then ask for what you need. So it's like little things, stuff you just have to do to build a relationship with someone.
I'm not in Bermuda, and I take it offensive when people just speak to me without saying good morning.
Yes.
so,
Manners is key.
so I mean, I do get part of that, but I'm just wondering to myself, are leaders really supposed to be involving themselves in personal problems? I mean, because for me, I have a notion to say, and I'm not gonna say it's strictly that, but if it is that you have personal problems, you leave it. You don't bring it to work. That's just what I am thinking. I know it's not easy for everyone to do so, especially when they're going through something. It automatically spills over to any other thing that you're doing, so it then affects it. But I'm thinking if persons can deal better with their personal issues, it will help in the workplace.
I would agree with that. And I do think there's some overlap between personal problems and professional problems, giving you all together most of the day. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes your personal life can spill into work, or your personal behaviors. So
Yes.
sometimes some people, like if you look at married couples, some couples don't speak to each other for a few days when they're irritated. Other
Mm-hmm.
couples are like, oh no, we cannot go sleep mad. We have to solve this. So
Right.
if that's their communication style in their personal life, it's very likely that could be their communicational style in their professional life.
Oh, I get
So
you.
I,
I
I
get
think
you.
it's just a matter of knowing what that person's style is, and adjusting yourself to see how can you be influential with that person. So there's actually it's called Myers-Briggs, and there's
Mm-hmm.
a few other personality type surveys that different departments or companies can do with their team.
Right.
And so I think it's important that if you're ever in an opportunity to sit through one of these courses and you find out what's your personality type, what is the personality type of the people on your team, your boss, your coworkers, because don't discount those courses, because I think that could save you a lot of aggravation if you know what makes that person tick, like what is their triggers, and you can
Mm-hmm.
relate it back to like love languages.
Yes.
I remember one of my coworkers had this brilliant idea, and he was very discouraged. His boss didn't buy into it, so he pulled him into an office, and he was like, "Look, this is her style. This is how you have to come to her. She's very analytical. You have to come her with the data and the facts.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, your idea is great. You didn't present it in a way where she would receive it.
Yes.
So he was like, wait, I have to use the 5 love languages at work? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yep, that's exactly what you have
Exactly.
to do.
Yes.
He's like, I don't put that much effort into the people I date. And I was like, oh, sorry, buddy, this is what you got to do. So I think it's important to know what is the person's style. Like if you want their buy-in, if you want them to take on the project you're presenting, what is their style? What are they going to look for? And you have to adjust your style so that you are able to influence them. Because at the end of the day, you have to influence them if you want them to agree with what you're doing. So
True. Very
I
true.
think, like I said, communication is very important in all aspects of your professional life and also personal life.
Yes, definitely. Are all conflicts resolvable at work?
I would say no. Like some
Okay.
conflicts you may just have to deal with. Some are you will be able to resolve, but I think it depends on the conflict itself. So there's a quote that says, "While you can't control how people treat you, you can control how you react." So I
Yes.
think it's important to just always, like I said before, always stay professional. Always stay respectful. I look at conflict as different of opinion.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to move on. You got to agree to disagree.
Right.
So, because you still have to work together, we're both employed here,
Right.
so we have to continue the relationships whether we agree on this particular issue or not. So sometimes you have to just learn to push forward, regardless if it's resolved or not, and don't let that conflict spill over into other issues or other interactions. You should actually learn from it.
Yeah, you should learn from it. But I've seen situations that there's no resolve and persons decide that they're not working together, no matter what. So that environment just becomes very toxic and very hard to deal with. And until somebody just decides to stop working there.
I mean, that's one way to resolve it is to look for a new job. That's kind of the extreme version. I think it's important. You have to be very self-reflective. Like, how did I contribute to this conflict? And
Yes.
what can I do better next time? Understanding that sometimes some people are just stuck in the ways and they're just not going to see your point of view. But you can't let that bring you down. You just have to understand, okay, they didn't understand. How can I act next time so
Yes.
that I can influence them?
Yes.
So I remember a while ago, I had a situation where I was asked to do something. I was like, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I
Right.
explained what I wanted to do. And everyone was like, no, this is what you need to do. And I was like, okay. So I actually stopped and I did it how I was asked to do it. So when I presented it, the person I presented to is like, oh, I don't want all of that. I just wanted this, which is what my original
Oh my
idea.
goodness.
And so in that moment, I felt like saying, like, see, this is what I wanted. But in that moment, I also didn't. You have to think, do I want to be right or do I want to be influential? So
My
going back
goodness.
and
Yep.
replying all and be like, actually, I was right. Is that going to improve my image in their eyes? And the answer is probably no, because
No.
they thought this is what I had to do. So I think it's important to know your limits.
Yes.
Don't I was right and it was a personal win for me.
Right.
I don't know if they realized I was right, but you just have to move on because we all have to work together. Like you said earlier, you said the extreme version is to look for a new job, but
Right.
some people may love their job or love their team. Like no matter where you go, there's going to be an issue.
Yes.
It's like, what issue can you live with and how are you contributing to the issue and how can you better the issue? So it's easy to blame somebody else, but we also have to be self-reflective and ask for feedback. Like, see, what did you not like about what I did? Or you have to keep the lines of communication open. You can't simply say, oh, I'm going to quit my job or I'm going to do this. I mean, you can quit your job.
Right. Right.
If your finances are aligned and you can't do that. But I think it's no matter where you go, you have to learn how to communicate with people that don't agree with you, communicate with people that don't see your point of view. And you just have to enhance your communication skills. We communicate every day in life, from going to the mall to talking to your kid's teacher. So communication is like unavoidable.
And it almost sounds like when you're speaking a while ago, I was like, this almost sounds really like a relationship.
It is. It's a
Yeah.
professional relationship.
It really does sound like a marriage or a relationship that you have to continue working on and communicating on.
It is, and you could probably take things from your personal life and implement it. So I remember when I was in premarital counseling, the counselor was like, "Because sometimes you just maybe I said something that's going to rub your spouse the wrong way," and it's like, "Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. This was not
Mm-hmm.
my intent." So you have
Right.
to apply that in work. Like, "I'm sorry you were offended," or "I'm sorry you were X, Y, Z." So you have to address the issue and move on.
How can a leader bring peace to a toxic environment?
I think you just have to lead by example.
Okay.
I think good leadership, you should inspire others by your actions, not by
Right.
what you say. They just need it. You need to model what you expect from others.
Right.
And I think leadership is tough.
It is tough. It is tough. Mm-hmm.
Leadership is tough. And I think it's important for leaders to lead from the front. So it's not a popularity contest. You're going to be put in some difficult, some gray situations, but I think it's important just to be authentic, to be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
and to treat everyone fairly. Like, you can't be all things to all people. Some people are not going to like some of the decisions you make, and you have to know that you made the best decision with the information you knew at the time. So
Right.
I think it's just important just to lead from the front, like I said, and just encourage others just to be better.
Always encourage others to be better. That will always make the work environment, more better to working to residing. Because the truth is, most of us spend most of our time at work, especially when we normally going before
Mhm.
this pandemic. There are many
Mhm.
persons who spend most of their time at work than even at
Mhm.
home. So
Mhm.
the place that you spend a lot of time at, you need to make sure you're able to be there without walking on eggshells or being afraid to be there.
Right.
Just a
And
healthy
don't
environment.
Right, and I think it's important because a lot of us are ambitious women, and so we're giving 100% to the job. So when things don't go right, it can affect you at home. It can
Yes.
affect you in your personal time. So I think it's important to not let your emotions drive conflict. Like,
Nice.
you're gonna have great days at work and not so great days at work, but you just
Yes.
have to push through no matter what.
Yes. Most
And
definitely.
I remember a while ago, I called my mentor at the time. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "I can't believe this happened at work and this." And I listed the three things that happened. And she was like, "Shellé, how has your day changed?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right. Like, sometimes you're so quick to react with new information." And was like, "Well, actually, my day hasn't changed at all." So
Mm-hmm.
fast forward to more recently, with someone on my team was like, "I can't believe this happened and this happened. And she said this and that in the meeting." And I just paused and I said, "Has your role changed?" She said, "No." I said, "Has
No.
your compensation changed?" She said,
Nope.
"No." I said, "Has your boss changed?" She said, "No." I said, "So
Nope.
why are you irritated?" So
True.
you just have to take the emotional. I know it's hard because we're emotional people,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's important to not let that take you off guard.
Yes.
So just keep it moving. If you need a second, walk to the bathroom, go for a walk around the block, or whatever you have to do to reset. But don't allow your emotions to take you off course.
Most definitely. So we're at the end of it, and I want you to tell persons where they can find you.
Sure, I am on Instagram, Shellé.Hendrickson, and you can also check out my website at www.shelléhendrickson.com. And I'm sure Jade will put the links to both my Instagram and my website in the show notes. Thank you
Most
for having me,
definitely.
Jade.
No problem. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed our session.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And thank you guys for listening to the Unfiltered by Jade. We'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.
Bam bam bide, bam bam bide, badu bidi, bam bam bide.